What's up, YouTube? Mr. LMSC here, and welcome to the Diablo 2 Necromancer guides. So, in this guide, we're going to be going through the Necromancer as a summoner first. I will also have other guides for the Necro, but we will go ahead and start with everybody's favorite, the summoner, and we will also discuss, of course, the Fishy Mancer, as some people know, piece that goes along with it. So let's jump on over to the character first, right? Ignore the life total and stuff on this character. This is just a hacked 99 character just to have for all of the skills and everything that we need right there. So with the summoner, how are we going to skill this, and how will we skill this along the way? One of the things that I always like to do when I'm doing a guide is try and give you the early levels, the mid and late levels, and then kind of the gear that you'll grab along the way, and then the like rich endgame gear and many of the alternatives and what you're looking for all of that stuff. So I'm trying to make this a little bit more detailed than just get Enigma, get a Shaco, right? And you're level 85 and here's where it all goes. And you're like, well, wait a second, you didn't like tell me anything along the way, right? How do I get to that point? So we'll try and talk about all of that stuff. So the first things to discuss are with the summoner, you're going to want to max out your, of course, raised skeleton and skeleton mastery. These are two very simple, basic ones to max. Now, how do we do this? You go 1 point here, 1 point here, and then you max out raised skeleton. A lot of people try and say, no, you want to do a balance. No, having more points in skeleton mastery is actually better, and blah, blah, blah. They are wrong. There is a calculator out there that you can go and you can skill up the points, and it will show the damage and life and all the pieces of your skeletons. And one of the big things to remember is you are always getting a slightly better output with the raised skeleton, because you're always contributing points that will raise your skeleton total. So even though adding another point to skeleton mastery will boost up your current skeletons, the additional damage and overall piece that you will get from having more points into raised skeleton will just be better for it. So this is going to be the way. And I'm sure there will be a bunch of people in the comments who are complaining, saying that's not true and yada, yada, yada. This is, like I said, I've used these calculators. I have done this math. If you want to do it the other way, all right, do it the other way. It's not like it's a crazy big difference, right? You can do it and it'll be fine. So if you want to throw a few more points into skeleton mastery just to increase a little bit of like the survivability of the skeletons you got, even though this does, you can go ahead and do that, right? So you're going to be maxing out this, and that'll be your very early maximum. Now, one of the other things that you're going to want to note is you will want to have 1 point here into amplified damage. So getting this really early is super nice because it's just 100% extra damage when you cast it. You can see that when you increase points in the amplified damage skill, you are not actually increasing the damage taken. All you're doing is increasing the radius and the duration of it. So putting more than 1 point into amplified damage is pretty pointless. The plus skills that you'll get later on will increase the radius, will make it better. But for the most part, you're just going to be standing back while the summons are killing things. So you can just cast amp damage on a few different monster groups here and there, and that will be perfectly fine. Additionally, while you're playing through the game, you will want 1 point in Iron Maiden in the early stages. Once you get out of normal, this skill really starts to tank and just not really be that great. But in normal, if you have 1 point in Iron Maiden and 1 point in Clay Golem, you can literally just go to any boss and you just cast Iron Maiden on the boss and cast the Clay Golem in front of them. They attack the Clay Golem and they take a bunch of damage. And all of the bosses will literally kill themselves if you just keep casting Clay Golems every time they die and keep making sure that they have Iron Maiden on them. Super easy, super clutch way to just go through all of normal, kill all of the bosses. Duriel is the easiest boss in the world instead of the hardest because of this like one quick trick. So We've maxed out Raised Skeleton. We're maxing out Skeleton Mastery. You'll notice that at no point I said get your points into Skeleton Mage, right? Also, Golem Mastery and Summon Resist are great 1-point wonders. All of these are just ones that I would put 1 point in. If you really want to get like a Fire Golem, you can go down the tree to the Fire Golem. You can use Blood, you know, whatever. Clay Golem, I always just love Clay Golem. He has a slow, and that's really nice. And he's just pretty tanky overall. So I've always been a Clay Golem kind of guy. So regardless, you're going to go down here because you're also going to want 1 point in Revive. You don't actually need to dump a lot of points into Revive. You might put a couple points into it early on before you get a lot of plus skills. And then later when you respec, you can just have the 1 point. This is another 1 point wonder because you just let all of your plus skills take care of it. You'll get all of your Revives, and that'll be very nice for you. So here's kind of how your summon tree is going to look. Beyond that, you can come over here and get points to Bone Prison if you would like. I find Bone Prison is just a very safe and easy skill to use. Now, one thing to note is that it does have a very large aggro range. So if you cast it, I just want to find like some monsters near. Right, if you cast it here, it's going to draw in monsters, you know, from a decent size range usually. But it is a very simple and easy safety skill, and you can always spam it whenever you're in a very tricky situation. And then you can save yourself, right, by just spamming it and getting yourself completely prisoned everywhere. So it's a very nice safe option. Not 100% necessary, but something you'll notice with this build is generally you kind of have a few extra skill points because you're really just dumping into Skeleton Mastery and Raised Skeleton. These are the only two things that are super, super needed with this, and then just kind of your 1 point wonders, you know, a couple curses right there if you want to grab, you know, Dim Vision. That's actually a pretty nice curse. You know, Decrepify is a fantastic curse as well. So for curses, I'd say you might be something around like this. You know, some people like Confuse. Really, this is kind of up to you. Play around with the different curses. They're all 1 point wonders, though, so you don't really have to worry about jamming a lot of points into them. After that, you can now say, well, I do have Skeleton Mastery maxed out, so I'll go ahead and get some Skeletal Mages. This is a totally fine way to just dump in some of your points. Skeleton Mages are not fantastic, but if you have a giant Skelly army and you want to get the Skeleton Mages, this is your, like, once you've got everything else maxed out and you just have the extra points. If you want to go full summon, this is a place you can dump those points. You can also start really, like, dumping hard into Summon Resist as you just get more resistances. You can put more into your Golem if you'd like, all of those things. What I would recommend, though, is the Fishymancer, like I was talking about before, which is maxing out your Corpse Explosion. So, no, the shift click doesn't work. So, that's only on stats. So here you have your Corpse Explosion, and it's maxed out, and this gives you a giant radius of 9 yards, plus whatever additional points that you're going to have in it. And so this then, when you go back to an area, let me see, where's my Corpse Explosion? There it is. When you go back to an area, you just blow everything up, right? And then everything just dies. I have 44 life, so. But it's just a nice, easy way. The corpses are, you know, they'll be all over the place, and you can just sit there and spam it and just blow everything up. So basically, you have your summons, go out, kill everything, and then blow them all up with corpse explosions, or at least have them kill one monster, blow the rest up. It's a very strong, safe build. It doesn't play the fastest, but it's strong and safe and a nice, easy way to just kind of play through the game. So this is a really fun build that a lot of people like. When we talk stats, we are going to be doing whatever we need in strength for gear, nothing in dexterity, and the rest into vitality. Okay? So let's go ahead and start talking about gear, and then we can go and do our stats after that. And once again, like I said, at this point, as long as Raid Skeleton, Skeleton Mastery, Corpse Explosion, Skeleton Mage, and some of those 1-point wonders are filled out, you should be good on all of your skills, and then you can kind of put the rest in those options I was talking about. So, like I said, let's talk about what are we going to be using for gear. Now, if we go to the Rich Man gear, right, this is kind of where you'll want to like end up with it. Give me like a BK ring or something. Yeah, we'll just grab SOJs. Grab that. Grab Amara's. Hodo actually is... Yeah, Hodo's pretty good. No, let's use a beast. There it is. Trex. And... Do I not have a spirit here? Spirit. Cool. So let's just start putting in some strength, get some of these things going, and then we can start talking about a little bit of that stuff. Okay. So we go there, and here is a look at our stats. And once again, once you see the kind of gear that you're going to be having on, you can even drop your strength down, right? So you perfectly plan it. So with all your gear on, I guess I don't have gloves. Give me Tranks. You know, you will be just perfectly set. So this, I would say, is a pretty ideal setup. Do I have a CTA for my Switch? There we go. This would be a pretty like ideal setup to go for, right? We've got the Shaco. We've got ourselves a Beast. So this gives us Fanaticism, which goes to all of our minions. This will give them 1 frame per attack faster, which is really nice. And the added damage and all of that. So it's just a very solid aura. We have Enigma, so we can teleport around. This, of course, is very useful for, you know, let's go and get a couple minions. Sure, that'll work. And then, of course, with this, you can always get your minions wherever you want to go, right? So you literally just go and say, oh, okay, here we go. I teleport on top of that guy. I teleport on top of him. I teleport on top of him, right? And so it's just a nice, easy way to do all of that. Additionally, you can... Sorry, I want to like get the full army up. Let's see how many we get here. We get 12 skeletons. Nice. Give me the mages. I need mana. I need that though. And this is without even having the revives, right? So we've got 12 skeletons, 12 mages, our golem, and then of course we can have up to, well, here we can have 12 revives, and we could once again put more into that if we really wanted even more. Get a bear out because we have bear. Why not? Then refill our mana. Did I use my CTA? I did not use my CTA yet, so yeah, I could guess even more. So you can see you can just have a giant army. Okay. We literally have 38 monsters right now that are running around with us. And then, like I said, you teleport and you have all of your monsters come with you. And so whenever you teleport on top of something, you're just going to absolutely crush. In terms of, right, so we teleport on top and then they'll just murder everything. So, in terms of where do I want to be getting my revives, good revives are going to generally be, the best revives that I like are your Act 4, or just your Erdars, right? So from Act 4, River of Flame is a great place to go and get them. You can reset a couple times for that. Pit Lords are nice. Death Lords are nice. So you can go into, you know, the Worldstone Keep and look around for those. You can find those in the Act 5, just, you know, within the, like, Ancient's Way and, like, around there. I believe they're in the Ancient's Way. They're in one of those passageways. And, yeah, so these are all just, like, fabulous revives. Some of them have Crushing Blow and can just absolutely be really strong and really crushing. But additionally, on this character, you'll want summon GCs. Basically, your goal here is to just get as many plus skills as you possibly can. That's pretty much what you want to do, right? So when we say that, because once again, you look at this and you're like, all right, you've got SOJs and Enigma and Maras and Spirit and all this stuff. What if I'm not crazy rich? What do I get when I'm just playing through this game? And that's a great question, because honestly, not everybody's going to have all of this gear, especially if you're doing single player and you're just doing a playthrough. So in that case, you want to look for things like this. Let me get my strength up. I lost all my plus strength from all my gear when I took off the Enigma. Enigma's so much gear, or so much strength. So we'll just go ahead and max this out-ish just to have some stuff there, right? So what about things like Q-Hagens? What about something like Spirit Shroud? Early on, grabbing your stealth is fine. You can make a bone armor if you really want. That's the name of it, right? That necro armor. I wouldn't recommend that one. Is it called Bone? Bone Runeward? Soul Yeah. Wow. I mean, it's got +2 necro skills and 30 to all res on it. That's about all it really has. Not worth 2 ums. So, you know, you just want to find things that have plus to skills, plus energy is nice, plus life is nice, resistance is. And then if you can get some FCR, if you're playing that Fishymancer with Corpse Explosion, get you some FCR on it as well. So something like this is very nice. Viper Magi is a fantastic armor that you can pick up and put on, right? These sorts of things aren't too expensive, can be found pretty easily. You can go farm Nightmare Mephisto if you want, kill areas around there, trying to look for those sorts of items like that. Additionally, you can get things like, what do I do for a shield? All right, well, Spirit is just godly for this build. You get FCR, you get the plus to skills, you get the hit recovery, vitality, mana, resistance. It's hard to go wrong with the Spirit, both on a weapon and on a shield. But let's say that you're not playing with Ladder Rune Words enabled or something, right? Okay, well, something like a Bone Flame could be really nice. Additionally, you could be looking for just any head that's going to be giving you plus to skills is going to be super, super nice. You can also make a rhyme in a necro head. So if you find a socketed necro head or a white necro head that has plus to the skills that you want, right? +3 to raise skeleton, corpse explosion, whatever it is, grab that, put sockets in it. The socketing will always go 2 open socket because that's the maximum that a necro head can have. And then you can put shale eth in it and you can make yourself a nice rhyme shield. Very cheap, very easy, and it's just a classic strong rune word. You get Cannot Be Frozen, you get Magic Find, you get resistances. Very nice. plus whatever skills it's coming along with. In terms of weapons, well, we've got things like Graven Spine, 2 to Necro skills, some strength and dex. Arm of King Lyric is a fabulous summoner. You get plus to summon skills, FCR, and then you get all these bonus plus to Skeletal Mage, plus to Raise Skeleton, plus to Skeleton Mastery, plus to Mana. This is a very classic summoner weapon right here. Karen Shard, plus to summoning skills and plus to Necro, FCR, FHR, life, mana, fantastic, right? Blackhand Key has Necro skills, FCR, life, res. That's all we have for those ones, right? And then in terms of shields, you've got Homunculus, you've got Dark Force. This has +3 to summoning skills. You've got the Trangs. I wouldn't use that on this build. But, you know, you have the Bone Flame. Trang's armor has +2 to summoning skills on it, actually. So if you find Trang armor, that could actually be a really nice summoning armor to have along. And honestly, the full Trang set is probably okay as well. Regardless, those are all just kind of like easy things you can have along the way. Additionally, something like Hodo, get the +3 to all skills and some nice resistances. That's not bad either. A lot of options for all of these things, right? So weapons, find any wand. You can even shop a wand. Literally just go to like Nightmare Akara and just shop. So I'm just going to go right here. I don't want to do Nightmare on that character. Go to Nightmare Akara or Drognan and just look at the wands. And just look for wands that have plus to like summoning. You can literally get 3 to summoning skills on a blue wand after just a little bit of shopping. Right? So here that's got summon resist on it. There, +2 to summoning skills, 118,000 gold. That took me no time at all, and that's already a +2, and you can find a +3, right? So you just go there, you shop it. If you don't find what you want, you run out of town, you run back into town. Drognan has now reset, and you just check again. There's a plus to Necro skills, right? Very easy, and this is a great way to do it when you're just playing through Nightmare. Just go right there. Just go in, and playing through the game. Go shop yourself plus to summons if you haven't found a good wand at all along the way. Additionally, so that kind of covers that. Armors we talked about. Helms, Shaco's great. Lore is also great. Ort Soul, you can find these runes at Nightmare Countess. Very easy to get. Gives you a very nice helm, plus to skills. Tarn Helm is really good. Just finding a circlet that has plus to summoning skills or plus to necro skills and strength or faster cast rate or faster run walk or life or res. All of these things, those are all great. So look for circlets, things that you pick up along the way. Worm Skull, sure. Like, you just want plus to skills. Remember, that's your like first and primary goal, because you're not going to be in crazy dangerous situations. Your goal is going to be stay away, let all of your summons kill things, so the more skills you get, the better they will be. In terms of amulet, plus skills. So you're going to be looking at your Maras, but you're also, oh, I find a High Lord's cool, I'll grab that. Oh, I find whatever, right? And additionally, you can get lots of blue amulets. You can gamble for them. You can find them. You can roll them, craft them, whatever. With plus to summon skills, plus to necro skills, all sorts of that stuff. If you can't get something with one of those, go for something that's got some life, some resistances, some strength, just things that can help you, right? Those are always your classic. Life, res, strength, FCR on an FCR character. You just want to have those. That's just super easy. Gloves, these are the gloves that I just always kind of recommend for everything. This is going to boost your curses up a little bit. And these are just the best casting gloves. So because we're casting Corpse Explosion, if we are, and all of our summons, they help. The plus to curses helps with our amp damage, helps with our Decrepify, whatever. And then you get 30 cold res as well. So that's really nice. If you do put Mage Fist here, you can still get the FCR. The +1 to skills will be it's fire skills, and Corpse Explosion is a fire skill. So that will actually benefit your Corpse Explosion. But besides that, once again, other gloves, magic finding gloves, you can get chances in there, you can get frostburns in there, you can just get some nice res life gloves, strength gloves in there. A lot of things you can put in. Rings, if you're not going to get SOJs or BK rings, things like that, I would look for rings like this, you know, so this is just like an 11 all res, 10 FCR, 30 fire res ring. This one's 10 FCR with 11 all res, 20 light res, 30 fire res, 1 to strength. This one is 10 FCR, 17 to strength, 6 all res, 16 fire res. So these aren't like the greatest rings, but they're good rings. They're good enough that you'll just be able to put them in. You'll get the FCR, you'll get the res, all of that stuff. So it's really, really, really super simple there. And then for boots, scarab shells are going to be really my first slot that I'm going for. But you know what? If you want to put War Travs on, put War Travs on, get your MF up. Thank you for the raid, by the way. If you want to get some Water Walks for more life, get Water Walks. If you really want to put Marrow Walks on, they technically have plus to Skeleton Mastery, I believe. So that would maybe boost a little bit for your Skeleton Mastery. You know, you can really slot a lot of things in. Rare boots also work. For a belt, Arachnid Mesh has the +1 to all skills, so it's the favorite. Otherwise, once again, a lot of options here. If you want to even just go for some of these like rare belts with like strength, life, res, hit recovery, all of that stuff, you can throw these things onto your character. Otherwise, if you don't, you know, really there's so many belts that would all work and fit in here. So anything that you find, I mean, heck, even like if you get a T-God, that's got strength and vitality and light sorb on it and stuff. So really anything fits. And that's kind of one of the beauties of this summon Necro, is that the gear is not that important for your character, right? You want to have good gear with plus to skills, but you don't have to have all of these crazy things. Your weapon doesn't need to have really good damage and all of this stuff. If your gloves aren't great, like, it's okay. As long as you have some plus to skills here and there, your character will be fine. You'll be able to go around and kill stuff. So hopefully that covers a lot of it. The last thing that I'll say is you will want to get an Act 2 Mercenary with this character, and you will want to get an Act 2 Offensive Mercenary. You want that Might Aura that will benefit all of your minions, and you don't want Holy Freeze. Holy Freeze can be nice, but the problem is you're going to be ruining a lot of corpses, right? So when they're chilled, and then they're going to shatter, and so you won't actually have the corpse available. So getting the Might Aura ends up usually being the best choice for your Mercenary right there in Nightmare. So with that being said, I hope this was useful to you. If you have any thoughts or comments, feel free to leave them below. And mwah! Thanks, YouTube. Peace.